recording this. I may not do anything with it, but well, it's a long day, a busy day, and I have been meaning to do an update. So, if you're new here, this is Fix It with Fran, where I talk about all things faith, family, food, and fun. For my newest subscribers, I do want to apologize to y'all because I had all these videos and things up talking about doing what subscriber giveaways and other content that I've been posting. And then for my existing subscribers in the previous years or whatever, um, I apologize to y'all too because I really intended to keep up my schedule of doing regular Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of posts and whatever else fell in between. But a lot of life happened. And as y'all remember, I was supposed to be doing a giveaway. And then I didn't do the giveaway because life was happening. Um, Needed to share this in whatever level and space and place that I'm able to share it as I feel comfortable doing so, because some of my business is just my business. But I mentioned in one video a while ago that I had a rough day, like a really rough day, and I was sharing like an Air Garden update. I have recorded other videos because I was in the process of vlogging what I thought would be a pregnancy journey. And unfortunately, first we had a chemical pregnancy in March of this year, 2021. Now, the previous video that I recorded, I was actually pregnant. And at that point, after the chemical pregnancy in March, we got pregnant again in April. And it's now August of 2021, and we've lost that baby. Today is a really good day because I'm able to say that without choking up and cracking up and getting emotional. And I can thank a lot of people that are close to me and some people that I may not even talk to as often, but I just get to have really good quality conversations with them when we do check in, for being able to say that today. Because some days have been really hard. And for me, as a more sensitive person, there's some days where I take it really extra hard. And for me, as a person who's done grief work and grief counseling and even worked for hospice, when they say, some people, people give different analogies for grief. You hear people talk about the button that's in a box and it starts off really big, so it feels like it's always hitting the box every time it bounces around. And then eventually, as time passes on, the ball gets smaller, and so it hits the button in the box less. But there are some days when it hits that button square on and it still sets all the bells and whistles off. And for me, because I probably am a water baby and love the beach and being near water, the analogies of grief being like waves really hits home for me. And I say grief in the sense of I fully acknowledge, talking with counselors, talking with my friends, that I was grieving the losses. As I say in the previous video that I recorded when I was still expecting, I had a chemical pregnancy in 2017 and I told no one about. Didn't even tell Brandon because I wanted to surprise him. I didn't tell him when I got the positive test. And then by the time I was scheduled for the first appointment that I was going to just bring him along to, I don't know how I was going to work that out, but I was going to make it work. In my mind, I felt like it would be a fun surprise. But I had that chemical pregnancy and was talking to my doctor. And before I even got to the 8-week appointment, all of a sudden the tests were negative. In this case, the same thing kind of happened. I was testing because I did the same thing when I was pregnant with Monica. Like, I knew something was up. I knew something felt different. I took a test before I was going to have a nice bottle of wine, and I was pregnant. And so that kind of confirmed for me too that with the previous chemical pregnancy, like, I wasn't making that up. Like, I felt the same things that I felt even with this chemical pregnancy and the baby that we unfortunately lost. So yeah, March happened, and that hurt because at that point, that was my second chemical pregnancy. I felt like, oh, after having Monica, and I apologize, not really apologize, acknowledge that I'm laying down. So I'm holding the phone with the arm that I'm laying down with because it's, I think, like 11 o'clock at night. Monica had a project that was due tomorrow that I had been working on. It's like a collage, a little about me thing. But I stopped, and then I had deadlines at work and different things, and it just occurred to me today that it was Thursday night and that tomorrow was Friday. And she's not even in elementary school. This is like pre K2 project. So I was laughing in a text to my family, like, I really thought we weren't going to be dealing with like late night mommy projects until at least elementary school, like first, second grade. No, daycare gives them now. But I appreciate that because I feel like that means we have Monica in the right daycare and she's learning. She's had homework every night this week. This week was coloring red crayons. So this might be for the folks of you that are out there that like Monica updates. Maybe even we'll throw in some pictures at the end. Honey, so that took up a lot. But when the stuff was happening back in March, I was kind of shocked because part of me wanted to believe that after having Monica, that chemical pregnancies wouldn't come up for us again. So that was a bit of a blow. And I think I say in that video that, when you, for me, everybody's different. I know for some people they don't think that far in advance, but I think the grief really plays into the life that you imagine and the optimism you have when you see that positive line, and then the loss, because at first I was like, why did that hurt as much as it did? And I know it hurt because I really felt like I had lost whatever future I had planned or imagined for whatever child, boy, girl, whatever. It's lost, and especially that early because you don't even know. So that was that. And then I remember my doctor and the phlebotomist were laughing and they're like, be careful. And then y'all definitely want to try again because you're usually more fertile after you have a loss. So we did a lot of our planning with Monica and with the last chemical pregnancy and this loss, still using my Fitbit. So I will talk even about that because I don't think I've seen anybody talk about using the, what is it, like female health predictor that they have on Fitbit. Spoiler alert, eerily accurate. Like when we were deciding that we were ready to try for Monica, I remember my husband was like, "Oh, I synced it with my little fertility planning apps. We'll talk about that at some point if that's something folks would find helpful." But I say that because I've been doing a lot of thinking, and today for me, I decided that whenever I am ready to post that video, I have a video of the positive test, even from the chemical pregnancy. When that happened, I had done a recording and had Monica take the test to my husband. And that was hilarious. Short video. Part of it's in the dark. Not really good. Can't see it, but it's hilarious. And for the second one, I was actually gone on a weekend trip or something when I got a positive test. So I was in Florida and clearly trying. So you're traveling with tests because my test. But it has been a lot of a journey, and I decided in thinking about that and looking back and whether or not I got to a place of wanting to share those videos, that going forward, something that I had already been wanting to do that was on my heart was to do Bible study groups like I used to do on Facebook. Not on Facebook, not on Instagram, not on anything. So bringing that back to the accountability piece that's big for me, I wanted to come back and let y'all know where I've been. I'm one of those people too that when a lot of things are going on and I just need to really hone in and focus and keep my sanity and do what I need to do for life and my own health and strength, I kind of go in insular mode, and I'm very much like I tell one of my friends, I go into turtle mode and I go into my shell. And it's not to say that I won't ever poke my head back out again. And it's not to say that if you're really close to me and you know me that you can't poke your head in either and just check and see how the turtle's doing. But I went into my shell for a little while just to really keep it together. There were some weeks that I didn't record anything and that I didn't vlog because too much was going on. And test results were coming back that were really not going in the direction that we had hoped for. That was rough and took a lot out of me. And even being here now, grateful to have Monica, to have that motivation of pushing through it, to be a mom, but also having folks that love and care about me who give me space to just not be okay. And that's probably the only reason that I'm able to sit here and hold this phone and not be a bucket full of tears. But some days I am, because in the point that I was starting to make about grief being like waves that I don't think I ever finished, but if you've watched my videos, you know that's par for the course with me. Some days the waves are overwhelming and it almost feels like I'm drowning in grief and all the questions and the unknowns and just the sadness of the loss. And in those days, I don't want to say it's like, oh, they're okay, but it's okay to acknowledge that you're not okay. And I'm in a place, in a space, even with some of my colleagues, where I can just say, I'm just here today, and it's not a good day, but I'm going to get through it. And being able to say that, especially when it comes to something like pregnancy and loss and grief, I realize how important that is for me. And I completely understand that every relationship, interaction, workplace is not like that, because I have been in some workplaces that I can't imagine being able to be that candid or that transparent about just not being okay. Um, but today was a good day. Today was one of those days where being busy was helpful and I was able to just keep swimming, and I found myself getting back into the beat of just being like myself. And we're only about 3 going on 4 weeks out from the loss, and it's August. So yeah, today was a good day, but I wanted to check back in with y'all to let y'all know that that would be coming. The Bible study piece that I mentioned, I know everybody may not be here for that. Everybody may not be here for the fertility, infertility, pregnancy, loss, grief stories, and that's okay. I will be doing more of my usual kind of plant videos. I haven't started any arrow gardens, but I do want to plant some other things outside. That was another thing. Plant progress. The plants that are doing the best right now are the plants that I got that were drought tolerant and heat tolerant, because we're in Louisiana and it's hot. We're actually about to have a heat advisory that starts, I think it started today, and it's going like, the index is going to go up the rest of the week. And our AC went out 2 days ago, or at least one of the units. So I am grateful that we have both working for upstairs and downstairs again. That was hot. And it's funny, this is like almost the third time that I've like felt like something was wrong with the unit and said something to my husband, and then like within the next week it was out. I have some kind of premonition for AC, which I think Louisiana gifted me with, because I don't think I would have noticed in North Carolina. Like maybe, but it might have been just blowing the fan for a while before it really caught my attention. Here it's just like, it's hot. It's really hot. Is the AC working? Oh, it's not. Yeah, we gotta fix that. I'm sorry, I might have not finished that thought again. The Bible study piece, I used to do them on Facebook, not on Facebook. When I got off of Facebook, just because it was a lot to, people are living life still. And that's the crazy thing about grief too, is like you're trying to deal with it. You don't want to like act like other people's life should stop or their world should end, but you don't want to see their stuff either. And like between people having babies and posting announcements and posting the baby pictures, I wasn't in a place or space to really see a lot of that. And I think it's completely normal to remove yourself from that, because it's not sometimes healthy for processing your grief, because you don't want, like I said, to feel angry or frustrated or whatever at other people for living life as they should and sharing things. But I'm also in that place and space in life where I'm just like, is Facebook really serving a purpose for me? Like, I know I share things that I genuinely want to share to help people, encouragement, share things about life that are truly going on. But as I get older, I just like the facade of Facebook just kind of irks me. Like how people, especially, when you know people and you're in the same circles and you're present, and or they may be telling you their real life's truth and then posting the complete opposite to Facebook. Like, I've dealt with some situations of people where they would say something to me like, oh, this is horrible, this is going on with that. And then 5 seconds later, post the extreme opposite to Facebook. And I'm like, look, I don't want to see that. Like, I don't know. It's not to say people can't live their life and live their truth in whatever way they want to live it. But as the person who's usually like the strong one, the friend, the counselor, if you're coming to me and saying all these things and then like literally like 2 seconds later I see the truth that you want to present to the world, I don't like that. And I laughed because I told somebody, I said, even for me, when stuff is going on, either I'm going to not say anything about it or I'm going to say the same thing that I would tell you in person, or I'm just not going to say anything. And even with stuff like, if it's relationships especially, I am not the person who's going to be posting rainbows and lollipops and gumdrops and sing songs and love notes about my husband if I know he's pissed me slam off. And to be fair to myself, I know I'm often the person who, even if I post something about a relationship or ourselves or whatever, I'm also the candid person who's always like, life ain't always grand. Like, relationships are not always ups. It's ups and downs and highs and lows and in between. And if you're really committed in a relationship, you got to ride that out. Again, I'm not going to get into the extremes of outliers with that and abuse and verbal, physical. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about regular ups and downs of the AC went out. What are we going to do? How are we going to fix it? This sucks. We going to get through it. That to me is like real deal. Like, I don't like sing-songy rainbows. Even with this, y'all have seen me post funny stuff, family stuff, and I think it's important to carve out a space, like I said before, for those things that we don't talk about. And pregnancy and loss, I know you see a lot of those kind of videos on YouTube, and I apologize. Maybe I shouldn't have tried to record this while I wanted to lay down. There is no such thing as a good angle. We ain't gonna get one. I ain't gonna try. But it's not about that. But I am getting lazy holding this phone, and I really want to lay down. So, and this is a nursing top, not anything extravagant. I'm just not wanting to show that. And wearing nursing tops because I was pretty far along during the loss. So my body is still wanting to act like it's postpartum. And those are things that I realized as I was processing and looking at mommy groups and dealing with whatever, that I wasn't finding anybody talking as much about the grief process, talking as much about the after the loss. And you see some people who share like the fertility treatments and the things like that. And I don't know if that's the road we're going to end up going down. I hope not. I guess with everything that's happened now, I am in the over 35 advanced maternal age group. So that may now be a part of my journey. I try as best as I can not to social work myself. My OB, as soon as all this started happening, she's like, don't social work yourself, don't process yourself. But at the same time, I do know that I have a lot of skills from my subject matter expertise that are helping me get through this, because I'm realizing not to be too hard on myself and to give myself space to grieve and all that stuff, and to recognize the folks around me who have the capacity to hold that space and the willingness to hold that space, and folks where them holding the space may be them reminding me not to forget a work project. Or, and I say that in the sense of anybody that knows me, really knows me, knows I don't forget like anything. Like, I'm on top of stuff. I'm a P's and Q's kind of person for the most part. But when life is coming at you hard and fast, I appreciate someone remembering that I'm human enough to not care as much about some things and to give me a friendly reminder so that I don't drop the ball on something that I need to carry out. Like, it helps me acknowledge where people are doing their part. And it's given me a whole nother perspective that I guess I'm at that part of, like, I had the anger part of grief, I had the optimistic denial part of grief, and I go back and forth, at least at this point, in the ways of acceptance. But the point that I was trying to get at was that I feel like there are not as many videos, at least from my searching, and I can't say it was an exhaustive search by any means, but I want to provide another outlet for folks who are really looking for just a real life experience of getting through the grief. And I know, excuse me, sorry, it can be hard to talk about grief just in the sense of this is my real experience, and am I going to be able to do a video and not just cry the whole time? Um, but I'm getting there, and I think I've started this one story like 3 times and not actually told it without going on a tangent. I got off Facebook, tried to log on one day to like check my page. Facebook page for Fix It with Fran was gone. And I was like, what? And then I was like messaging support trying to get my page back. And then I just got disgusted with Facebook. And it wasn't about people posting. It wasn't about them sharing their life. It wasn't about seeing pregnancy announcements. It was about the fact that all of a sudden, my community garden access is still there. My doula page is still there that I'm not dueling because I stepped away from that a minute ago when I had my first loss. All of this is there, but Fix It with Fran is gone. And at that point, I was like, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal because I wasn't posting that much. Wasn't linking to stuff like I had been on Instagram, so there weren't any automatic feeds going into it. It was just the fact of like, really, Facebook, like really, like I don't even fool with you, and now my page is gone. Like I really don't have a reason to fool with you no more, Facebook. Like we can quit. We can be busted up. It can be over. We can be done. So I guess Facebook and I had a falling out of sorts. Whatever. I don't really miss Facebook. I hadn't figured out Instagram, but I'm gonna figure out Instagram because how they do the music video or the music linked on your video now, I've been wanting since like 2010. So one of these days I'm gonna get back on there and figure out how to edit and post a clip with actual music instead of lyrics. But I'll probably still post lyrics because I'm old school and I like lyrics because I listen to the words and songs and not just the beats. So yeah, when that happened, I was like, oh, Facebook, you disgust me. And then I was frustrated because I'm like, now I got to start a whole nother page. Like, nobody wants to do that right now. So I just logged off and logged back in. And taking that break has been good. Kind of miss Messenger because I used to chat with some people on Messenger. And I signed out of everything. Like, I signed out of Facebook. I signed out of Facebook Messenger because apparently you can deactivate your Facebook but keep Messenger because they're just trying to push Facebook on us. I was like, let me Google how do I sign out of Messenger. I signed out. So in that sense, I guess people who have been really intentional about checking in and staying connected with me have, and other people haven't. And that's okay. Because in this place and space and time in my life, I really had to reserve the largest portion of my energy of processing what I was going through, being here for my family, being Monica's mom. So that's where I've been. But I do want y'all to know I will be coming back on here. I'll be coming back with some different content. And I hope y'all have been good. Arrow Gardens will be coming back because as I was mentioning about the heat in Louisiana and got on a tangent like I do, it's hot and I don't necessarily want to garden a lot outside. And I'll be putting some more heat and drought tolerant plants outside to help with landscaping because it's a little on the struggle bus. Because again, I wasn't just ignoring y'all. I was ignoring my house plants. Somebody had to come resuscitate them. My little circle rounded up and got my house plants back together. I might have lost about 5% or so. Lost some African violets. Lost some of them plants from Lowe's that I was debating whether or not I was going to take them back. I threw away some from Home Depot. So I don't really... they just didn't spark joy anymore. So I was like, we're gonna trash these. And I did. What else happened? Plants outside. A lot are coming back now because I had some different bulbs and things like gingers and turmerics that were growing up that have now bounced back because they were sitting outside in some empty pots from the move. And I told my husband, like, don't throw those pots away. Like, they look like they're just dirt, but there are plants in the pot that are going to come back in like the spring and summer. So that was dangerous, y'all. Because telling my husband not to throw stuff away is like, that meant a lot of stuff that could have gotten thrown away didn't. But I appreciate him for acknowledging that I asked him not to. So it's some stuff I got to clean up and clear out. Air gardens will be coming back because it's so hot outside that clearly I can't grow lettuce. So around now is always a good time where I start doing different batches of lettuce and greens in the house. And then they grow for me pretty much like, rotating batches and doing my little succession planning with my crops and my air gardens. But it becomes a great time to do it because the heat in Louisiana can be a little too aggressive for growing a lot of different vegetables. Not impossible, but where gardening, especially with my herbs and lettuces and things in the air garden, becomes really, really beneficial. So I have that. I do have still African violets that are alive. I have one workstation that's out of town that I know. I did put some, what are they? Some bird's nest. What is it? Not trace just blah, 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 blah. Snake plants. I can't remember the scientific name, but I have some different types of snake plants that I have there. So those will probably be okay. Maybe if somebody poured water on them a time or two, they're doing that. The African violets that I have there, I know probably gave up the ghost. And then I had some orchids that are probably shriveled to nothing. But because they were all more succulent like plants, they might be doing all right because somebody just poured water on them one time. And it's horrible. I don't know enough people in their office just asking. And I probably do at least email or whatever. But again, so much life was happening that those plants were not a priority. My family and my baby, keeping myself together to be here was the most important thing. So we've done that. What else are we thinking? Plants, food. I gotta start cooking again. It's been too much to go food. But whatever's going on, we'll be vlogging about it and giving you some updates, just life in general. So I guess that's the point of all this, just a random log, and I will possibly start posting some of those old things when I'm ready to. Like I said, like I don't want to push myself too fast to be like, oh, you're doing great, everything's okay. No, because who knows, tomorrow may be a whole different wave that I'm riding, but everyone who's here now is here for a reason, and I thank you for joining our little community. And I thank you for all of you subscribers who remain subscribed when there's been 5 months of like no content. And the promise of a giveaway that hadn't happened. Thank y'all. Like I always say, this is Fix It with Fran, where I talk about all things faith, family, food, and fun. I truly, truly, truly believe that God has given us all gifts and talents and insights and abilities that are able to fix some problem that exists in the world. And while we may not be able to fix everything, I want to encourage you and share with you my belief that we can all fix something. So till next time, I pray that you would find that thing and fix it. I'll be checking in with you. Take care. Hold it up and say cheese. Hold it up. Say cheese. Maka. Cheese. Cheese. Hello. Mama. Cheese. Is that the closest we're going to get?